There's some confusion about when believers will be raised from the dead, which is linked to whether all believers, or just a subset, will reign with Jesus in the millennial kingdom. Jesus and Paul say believers are raised when Jesus comes back at the last trumpet call. Put another way, Paul says when Jesus comes back, those who belong to him will be resurrected, and when Jesus appears, will also appear with him in glory. So that means that believers will be around at the start of the millennial reign of Jesus. However, reading Revelation 20 in isolation, it sounds like only those martyred by beheading during the Great Tribulation are raised before the millennium and reign with Jesus. But we need to keep reading to get the full picture. It says this is called the first resurrection, that the second death will have no power over these people, and that they'll be priests of God and of Christ and will reign with him 1,000 years. This description of being priests is given to all believers, so it doesn't just apply to a subset of martyrs. We're told that the rest of the dead come to life at the end of the 1,000 years and are judged. The second death is the lake of fire, reserved for unbelievers, for those whose names are not in the book of life. There are other scriptures that suggest all believers will reign with Jesus. In Daniel's vision of the four beasts, there are earthly kingdoms represented that rise and fall, until Jesus sets up an eternal kingdom and believers inherit it. We know that Jesus will rule over all, and believers are amazingly described as being co-heirs with him. As Paul rebukes the Corinthians for not being able to resolve their disputes, he says it should be easy in light of what believers will be judging in the future. Paul explains to Timothy that if we hold on to our faith in Jesus, we'll reign with him. In Revelation, Jesus gives a message to believers in Thyatira that those who persevere in their faith will have authority over the nations, and to believers in Laodicea that those who persevere will sit with him on his throne. But will all believers persevere through the tribulation? In John's throne room vision, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders around the throne sing that Jesus purchased people from every tribe, language, people and nation by his blood, made them a kingdom and priests, and that they will reign on the earth. There may well be hierarchy in the millennial kingdom. As Jesus said, those on thrones are specifically the 12 disciples. Jesus told them that God has been pleased to give them the kingdom. In the parable of the 10 minas in Luke 19, the faithful servants are rewarded by being given charge of the number of cities in proportion to their productivity and faithfulness. So although it appears all believers will be raised as Jesus returns, and therefore will at least be present during the millennium, it's possible that not all will reign, or at least that we'll have different levels of responsibility. We'll just have to wait and see. Please like and subscribe for more Bible nuggets from a Hebraic perspective.